Waking up tired, disappointed, or feeling low is the daily reality for countless people. And it's not the body that's exhausted, it's the mind. Those first few moments after opening your eyes decide the tone of your entire day. Yet most people throw that moment away by feeding themselves negative thoughts. I'm exhausted. Another tough day. Nothing's ever going to change. And as expected, nothing does. But what if I told you that by simply changing the very first words you speak to yourself each morning, you could change the direction of your entire life? It sounds simple, and it is, but it's also profoundly true. Those first 5 minutes after waking shape your mindset, your focus, your decision-making ability, and ultimately, your destiny. Every building stands on a hidden blueprint. Your day is no different. Before the coffee brews, before the sun comes up, you've already begun constructing your future through your language, because words are commands, quiet instructions. Your mind follows with surprising precision. Say, I'm drained, and watch how your body reacts. Your shoulders sag, your mind dulls, your world feels heavier. Now say, today I move forward. Suddenly your stance steadies, your breathing evens out, and hesitation turns into determination. It's a simple truth with enormous power. Your mind follows your voice. Andrew Carnegie taught me this lesson in unmistakable terms. He told me he started each morning with one declaration: I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. He believed, and he was right, that anyone who controls their mind early in the day will control the rest of the day as well. Do you think his vast success happened by chance? Not at all. He used his morning words like tools to sharpen his strength. But most people throw this sacred moment away. They wake up complaining, hit the snooze button, as if delaying life is a privilege, and open their eyes already defeated, announcing their failure before even standing up. How many mornings have you begun by muttering, I can't handle this. Today will be miserable. Nothing ever works out for me. And strangely, that day does end up heavier, more tangled, more discouraging. No, that isn't misfortune. It's the result of how you've trained your own mind. It's like blindfolding yourself the moment you wake up. Not around your eyes, but around your words. Words are seeds, and morning is fertile ground. Whatever you plant, there grows stronger. Say you're lost, confusion grows. Say you're capable, clarity begins to unfold. That's why every morning, before thinking about work or responsibilities, I tell myself, this day belongs to me. I will lead, I will create, I will advance. This isn't cheap motivation, it's deliberate mental programming. Before the world floods you with doubt and distraction, you take hold of your inner world. I remember a morning with painful clarity, a time when I was at the lowest point of my life. Money was scarce, recognition was absent, criticism surrounded me. Articles that are famous today were being rejected everywhere. In 1 week, I received 3 rejection letters. My manuscripts were turned away, again and again. The next morning, I stared at that pile of rejected pages. I stared at my disappointment, and in that moment of obvious defeat, I said, today I will write, today I will move forward. No magic lifted me, no spark of inspiration visited me, but I wrote that day and the next. And eventually those quiet mornings gave birth to Think and Grow Rich. One decision, made firmly against all evidence, changed my life. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Act as if it's already there. The body follows the spirit, and the spirit responds to words. That's why strong people rise even when wounded. They don't wait to feel ready, they declare themselves ready. And the moment they declare it, readiness begins. Listen closely. You don't need grand declarations. Start with honesty. Say, I won't give up. I'm building. Today, I will bring my best. And when doubt whispers that you're not capable, answer firmly, even if your voice shakes. This day is mine, because if you don't speak first, the world will speak for you. And the world whispers fear, weakness, and mediocrity. But plant strength in the morning, and you harvest strength all day. And this strength is quiet, invisible to others, but unmistakable to you. If you want to change your life, start with the words you use when you wake up. Don't begin the day complaining about Monday. Don't claim tiredness. Claim life. Don't call the day difficult. Call yourself ready. Life doesn't react to your wishes. It reacts to what you state with conviction. And if I may leave you with one last instruction, For the next 7 mornings before a single thought enters your mind, wake up and say out loud, "Today, I carve my path. Today, I command." Don't ask whether it feels true. Repeat it until it becomes true, because the mind doesn't wait to feel ready. It follows the one who steps up as leader, and the moment you take that role, life begins to rearrange itself. Most people wake up chained to their past, dragging old mistakes, losses, arguments, failures, lessons that should have shaped them, but instead punish them. They enter a new day as if entering a courtroom, awaiting judgment. But here's a truth most never dare to face. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday. It matters who you choose to be now. And that choice is entirely yours. You're not the person who failed an interview, not the woman whose relationship ended, not the student who struggled with a course, not the child who was told he'd never be anything. Those things happened, but they don't define you. What defines you is what you decide to do next. And it begins with one statement: today, I decide who I am. This isn't soft philosophy, it's responsibility. Because if you truly believe you can choose who you become, you must accept that no one else is responsible for who you are now. Not family, not school, not circumstances, not the economy, not luck. The blunt truth is this: you have the power to rewrite your story every single day. And while this power is simple, it frightens those who prefer the comfort of blaming the world. I remember sitting alone one night in a small cabin in the Appalachian Mountains, completely lost. One of my early ventures had collapsed. I was crushed. My name meant nothing. My pockets were empty. My dreams lay shattered. All I could think was, I've ruined it all. But then a question struck me like lightning. If tomorrow were my first day on earth, how would I behave? That question changed everything. Because the moment you stop living like a prisoner of your own story, you begin living as its author. And an author has the right and the responsibility to write new chapters, introduce new characters, create better narratives, and shape a more powerful ending. This isn't pretending the past never happened. It's looking at it the way you look at an old bridge. It carried you here, but you don't need to stay on it forever. Every morning is a fresh road with no tracks on it yet. But most people wake up staring backward, holding a mirror instead of a map. Wake up saying, I'm a failure because I failed yesterday, and you trap yourself deeper in the same cycle. Wake up saying, yes, I failed. Today, I rebuild. And you begin forming a new identity. Franklin D. Roosevelt, whom I served with full devotion, taught me this through his life. Paralysis didn't define him. Fear didn't direct him. He chose every single day to become the leader his nation needed. Even when his body failed him, his resolve didn't. Because who he was lived in his conviction, not in his limbs, you might say, but I've made too many mistakes. And I'll say, who hasn't? I've faced public shame, bankruptcy, betrayal, rejection letters for my books, doors closed in my face. But none of it had the authority to define me. The only voice with that power was my own. Daily I repeated, today I choose. Today I write the next page. So let me ask you, how many times have you beaten yourself up simply because you believed you would always remain the same? How many times have you quit because you accepted someone else's label? Shy, unfit, insecure, slow, timid, and you turned that label into a lifelong sentence. Yet a single moment of courage, a small, deliberate action, can challenge that label. I'm not speaking of miracles, just small decisions made with intention. One step outside the cycle of failure. One no, where fear used to make you say yes. One bold move, one positive word, one apology, one offered hand, one change of direction. Anything that disrupts the pattern binding you to an old version of yourself. Patterns only repeat when you refuse to challenge them. But the day you rise and say, enough, from today I act like someone pursuing victory, your script begins to change. Even if the world insists on reminding you of your past, you'll look back and say, you're just the prologue. The story has changed. And at day's end, you'll notice something important. Every small step mattered because each one led the right way. And even if no one else noticed, that step marked a transformation. Because in that moment, you didn't react to life. You chose who you would be. And that choice, my friend, is the seed of true freedom. Now consider this. Have you ever tried building something while constantly glancing to the side? Picture someone trying to build a house while staring at a neighbor's project. The wall turns crooked, the bricks fall, the work never advances, and then he blames the weather, the timing, bad luck. But the problem was always the same: his focus. Most people start their morning distracted, checking news, scrolling through social media, replying to messages, all before reminding themselves what truly matters. And before they're aware of it, they're living inside someone else's agenda, not their own. Before the coffee even cools, their attention has been stolen, yet they don't understand or refuse to accept that attention is their most valuable possession, the human mind. And I've spent decades studying the science of success. Works like a spotlight. Whatever you aim it at brightens. Whatever you ignore fades. The tragedy is that people spend their lives illuminating their fears, their insecurities, their mistakes, then wonder why hope stays distant. I've watched brilliant minds fail because they couldn't stay focused in one direction. They floated like rudderless boats, pushed by every passing wave. But I've also watched ordinary men with little formal education become leaders, entrepreneurs, giants, because they learned to master their attention, quiet the noise, aim with intention, and move forward. Carnegie once told me something I've never forgotten. Hill, a man who doesn't control his attention will be controlled by the world's noise. He was absolutely right. Noise shows up as urgency, as gossip, as small, harmless distractions. Yet it slowly destroys vision. You've felt this before. Reaching the end of the day exhausted, but realizing you accomplished nothing meaningful. That's the result of living without direction, and the cure begins in the first hour of your day. When you wake up before the world pours in, declare, "Today, I focus on what moves me forward." That declaration isn't empty. It's a commitment to your own greatness. But here's the real secret. Focus isn't just about saying yes to important things. It's about saying no to everything else. It's resisting what looks appealing but leads nowhere. Often, what destroys progress isn't failure, it's distraction. Time wasted on tasks that produce nothing, conversations that build nothing, thoughts that drain instead of fuel. When I was writing my first major manuscript, which later became The Law of Success, I had every reason to give up. Money was tight. I was offered easier work. Friends told me I was foolish for putting so much energy into something that wasn't paying back. But every morning I sat at my desk, closed the door, shut everything out and said, "The world can wait. Today I focus on my purpose." Each page I wrote proved one thing: focus is stronger than chaos. If you want to change your life, you must begin by protecting your attention. Start with small habits. Before picking up your phone, take a sheet of paper and write. If I could accomplish only one thing today that would move me closer to my goal, what would it be? Anything unrelated to that answer must go. It doesn't matter if it's a message, an invitation, or a tempting idea. If it doesn't serve your purpose, it's noise. And if you doubt how powerful this is, remember Thomas Edison. People celebrate him for inventing the light bulb, but few realize he failed over 1,000 times before creating the final design. 1,000 attempts, 1,000 setbacks, 1,000 chances to quit. Yet each morning before touching his tools, Edison declared, "Today I get one step closer. Not I hope, not maybe, not if things feel right." He declared it. And because he declared it, his thoughts aligned, his hands aligned, his energy aligned. That is the force created by identity and focus combined. Edison didn't wake up trying, he woke up becoming. And that is what separates the exceptional from the ordinary. Most people wait for inspiration, for the perfect moment, for the right emotion, never realizing that the mind follows the one who leads it. You lead first. Motivation comes after. You command first. Energy follows. You declare first. Reality rearranges. This is why mornings matter. This is why your words matter. This is why your inner dialogue shapes your outcome. But there's another silent enemy that destroys people without them noticing. Comparison. Think of a runner constantly looking sideways to see where others are. His speed drops, his stride breaks, and eventually he loses. Not because he's slow, but because he's distracted. When you compare your timeline, your growth, your path to someone else's, you drain your own power. Remember this: comparison kills clarity. Clarity creates progress. Don't let someone else's chapter 20 make you doubt your chapter 2. Your life is your own blueprint, your own design, your own story. Only you live it. Only you write it. Only you face its consequences. So why hand your direction to someone else's journey? You must shield your mind from this quiet poison. Let others run their race. Your task is to run yours. Your responsibility is to become better than you were yesterday, not better than someone else today. Those who rise to greatness aren't blessed with perfect conditions. They're the ones who wake up and say, "Today I direct my mind. Today I build my story. Today I choose who I will become." Identity isn't found, it's built. Built through repetition, through consistent choices, through morning declarations, through focus. You fiercely protect. And once you understand this, your life begins to shift. Not suddenly, not magically, but steadily, quietly, powerfully. Because you stop waiting and start commanding. You stop wishing and start becoming. You stop repeating your past and start writing your future. Here's something to remember. Each morning gives you a pen, and life hands you a blank page. Some rewrite yesterday's fears. Others sketch tomorrow's greatness. Which one are you? Because the moment you choose, the moment you speak with conviction, your mind listens, your body follows, and your reality begins to shift. Transformation doesn't begin with action, it begins with words. And the most powerful words are the ones you whisper to yourself before the world even wakes. So tomorrow morning, before touching your phone, before letting the world pull at you, before the noise sets in, stand tall, even if you feel weak, and say, "This day is mine today. I build. Today I command. Today I become." Say it consistently. Say it confidently. Say it until your spirit accepts it. Because your mind doesn't follow who you were, it follows who you decide to be. And the moment you decide, the universe begins to respond.